Yeah, I know what you're saying. This guy's doing a review of bug out gear, of survival gear on his tech channel. Yeah, I got it. He says these are the best survival gear items. And normally he does reviews on computer motherboards and stuff. Yeah, I get it. He's selling a product. You know what I'm saying? Usually he just sells whatever schlock they're selling, shoes with lights in them that say words or whatever. That's what he usually sells. This week he's selling survival equipment because it's a big portion, not a big portion. It's a nice square cut out of like the Amazon home delivery services online entity or whatever. They sell a lot of that bullshit. So he's doing that this week, basically, is what it is. Now, you're saying he's lying, right? And then he doesn't know what he's talking about. And you're saying, well, isn't that illegal? That's false advertising. Technically, you're 100% right. But the law on false advertising says you can say an item is better than it is because you are trying to sell it. That has always been done. Snake oil salesmen sold cures that did nothing but get you drunk and sometimes made you sick. Now that's where they draw the line, basically, is if it says it cures baldness, it must at least do something to your scalp. It has to do something. Now the problem is results may vary. Do you understand? Not everyone is going to get the desired result, and what they imagine in their head can be very different from what the product actually does. And the video of it working in the best of circumstances won't live up to that 90% of the time. Let's just say they've gone to court over false advertising 100,000 times. Okay, and that's what the basic problem is that it's a horse that's been beaten to death, resurrected, beaten to death, so on and so forth. But what it is as long as it's inside of these very specific guidelines of do no harm, but it does what it is. Okay, so you're not even looking at hair growth ointment. You're looking at ointment. You understand? Hair growth is what it says it will do, but what it is ointment. So you are basically buying ointment. So when he says these are the best, absolute best survival equipment, you are just buying equipment. And that's basically where the false advertising is. Because even though it says like people will put names on things like the greatest ever belt buckle, and it's just a belt buckle. Everyone knows there's nothing special about it. He's just trying to sell it to you. The name is the world's greatest. You understand? And everyone knows it's just a belt buckle. So is it the world's greatest belt buckle? How does a belt buckle be better than another belt buckle? It's personal choice, right? So it's one of those false advertising caveats where when it actually doesn't do what it's supposed to do, like will hold up a mountain climber up to, whatever, 1,000 pounds or whatever, when it doesn't do that and it's brand new, it's false advertising, especially if there's bodily harm involved. That is false advertising. You understand what I'm saying? But if you live through it, right? If you live through it. Now that can be, that'll probably be mocked up a notch to negligence, or false advertising will be like the lowest charge on a case like that. Whereas false advertising is sort of mostly looked at as a sort of frugal type of court case, because you're not proving anything. All you're doing is damaging a company's bottom line by saying that you were unhappy with the product when you could have just put a thumbs down or wrote a nasty letter you had to take them to court. And the courts don't always understand that, but sometimes they do. It's basically based on the judge, jury, tribunal, whoever. And that's one of those things. Now, the major thing about false advertising you might not know is that You will never get a false advertising case to go to court unless there is some kind of loss or injury. Yeah, the hair ointment made your scalp change color, right? The hair ointment made your skin fall off, something like that. You understand? Now it's false advertising. Basically, and that will be the lowest charge is false advertising. That's just like the tacked on charge. You understand? Taking a company to court for false advertising only happens once in a very blue moon, and it's almost unheard of. It has to be in conjunction with another crime, basically gross negligence, something like that. Selling a product that doesn't do what the product says it does. Like a carabiner, like I said earlier, you sold a piece of steel shaped like a carabiner. It wasn't hardened steel. It wasn't this and that. It wasn't flyweight aluminum aircraft quality strength and stuff like that. When you put that on there and then it doesn't live up to it, now it's false advertising. You understand what I'm saying? And you see all them tech programs where they test out 6 or 7 of them, so even that now is even a smaller margin. But when you want to talk about the way false advertising works, it's best to go to a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but I do a lot of reading. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of time to read when in my life. So that's basically how that works. When it comes to false advertising, I think I can go on, but I don't want to. I think it's a dull topic. But yeah, I see YouTube as false advertising. You know what I lost? Fucking years of my life. I wasn't able to broadcast. I was able to make a record. Did I lose something? Probably. Anyways, they can decide. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's yourself, even though it's for everyone, they can decide. I see that as not only false advertising, but misleading information. You know what I'm saying? I went to you to work for myself, and then you say, no, you can't work for yourself with me. What the fuck is this? So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?